Perfect. So I would say, Christine, do you want to start by welcoming everybody to this and to the new decade?
Yes, absolutely. Well, for those of you who just joined, hello. For those of you who've been on for a few minutes, hello again. Really excited to connect with you. It's always such a pleasure and so energizing for those of us on the core team to have the chance to speak with all of you. It is a new year, it's a new decade, and it's the decade of action. If you have the chance, do go read our blog, where we compiled, some insights from our regional coordinator community about some of the positive things that they see that the next generation is going to bring for this decade. And it's really focused on action and solutions and moving past the kind of awareness raising that we saw over the past 10 years to really solving these problems like climate change and food security. And by the way, that's you guys who are doing this. And so the title of today's AMA is, of course, How to Win. But I do hope you realize that just by being part of TFF and stepping up to this challenge, you're already a winner. But I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. And, this community is more than winning a competition. You'll come to realize that. But today we are here to talk about how to take your ideas to the next level over the next few weeks so that you can benefit from the prizes and perks that we've, spent our time pulling together for you. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thanks for the welcome. So I obviously work with the teams, and if I haven't interacted with you yet, please do reach out on Slack or by email. Just say hi to me. It's Marie. And basically there's been a bunch of questions, and I know a little bit of what our teams are working on. So I've prepared a few to ask you what it is that the teams need to win. So let's dive straight into it. Okay. What kind of stage startups are you looking for?
Yeah, so Thought for Food is an open competition. We ask a big question, how are we going to sustainably and inclusively feed 10 billion people by 2050? The question is big and broad, and we invite teams to answer it in the way that they see fit and, their particular markets. And we also invite startups of all stages to join. And so we are looking for people to, spend the time developing a concept and ideating, and then turning that into a business model and prototype that they can take into the market. But we also have some great success stories and people in our community of existing startups who already have customers and already have a product. So we really are looking across the gamut for those starts. And we have different categories this year. So we have the level 1 teams, which you might have read about in our participant pack. And we also have level 2 teams, and those are for more advanced startups. And so, basically, if you are innovating in the food and ag space, join us. We aren't just looking, the only thing I can say is that we're not looking for just ideas or just concepts. We want to see actual, business models and potential for this to turn into a startup and business.
Perfect. So just to reiterate, if I just have a prototype, I'm good. And if I've been around for a few years, I'm good too.
Absolutely.
Nice. Perfect. And so do I need a website then though?
You don't need a website, but hey, if in this day and age, it's pretty easy and straightforward to put together something simple. And if that can elevate, how you're communicating to us and to the world about your project, go ahead and do that. There's great tools. I personally, can share some of the ones that we've used, like Weebly. And what's the one that I absolutely love that is escaping my mind right now? Squarespace. So these types of, websites you can put together based on templates, pretty easy and straightforward. You don't have to have a website by any means, but, if you can pull one together, that's great.
Great, thank you. And so now we know what stage. What about the solution area?
Again, the question that we ask is big and broad. So we encourage you to dive into the area that resonates, most with you and solves a real challenge in your particular market that you're trying to, develop your startup in. And I'm going to say this a few times over the course of the call because I really want people to hear this. please do not come in your pitch or in your solution with a high level message of, we need to feed 9.7 or 10 billion people by 2050. And, we have climate change and natural resource destruction to deal with. We know this. That's why we're here. That is something that you can take as a given, as an understanding that all of the, judges and deliberators already know. So come in and hone in on the specific challenge that you are solving and how you're doing it. What is your solution? Is it going to be a new food? Is it going to be a crop production technology? Is it going to be a solution for aquaculture or livestock? Is it going to be something that tackles food waste? Is it going to be something that tackles water use efficiency or packaging? Whatever the case may be, just hone in on the specific part of the problem that you want to solve and how you're doing it in a unique way that will really wow us. So the solution space is very, very broad for the TFF challenge. Of course, we also have the solution areas for our special prize categories. For example, the Circular Economy of Food Prize that's offered by Google and partners. We have the Beta Space Challenge, which is offered by Beta Space, and the Renature Challenge in Agroforestry offered by the Renature Foundation. And those, of course, are looking for solutions in those particular areas. But the TFF challenge is open and broad. Some exciting areas we've outlined in the participant pack, things like nutritious foods, novel flavors and aromas, alternative proteins, regenerative agricultural production systems. And keep in mind, we're not just looking at crop production, but also things like aquaculture and livestock production, controlled environment agriculture or urban farming, vertical farming, appropriate tech for smallholder farmers, and anything that has to do with transparent and inclusive supply chains. And again, that can go into things like fintech and blockchain, etc. So those are, some areas we've called out specifically because they're kind of hot areas right now in the investor community. But hey, we had a finalist team that was, bringing snail products to the market. So really, the world is your oyster. You can go into any direction that you feel is solving the challenge of building a sustainable and inclusive food system and solves a real problem in your target market.
Brilliant, thank you. So the more enthusiasm you show, the better you're off. I feel like that is the message here.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned kind of outlining the problem and your solution, your market space. So I know that some of our teams are international, where they don't necessarily live in the same country. How, is that all right? How do you use that to your advantage?
Yeah, that's more than all right. That's next generation innovation and action. We love that. What we try to really espouse here at Thought for Food is the fact that, the next generation thinks and acts in different ways, and we're no longer constrained by the past way of innovating where you had to be in the same place and speaking the same language, etc. So by all means, that's great if you're a global virtual team, much like we are at TFF. Use that to your advantage, but still focus on solving a real problem, and really understanding. And this is very much in the ethos of human-centered design, which we have some modules on the digital labs, but it's very much understanding what's that customer you're going towards? What is the environment in which they live, and what are the problems that they face, and how does your solution help them? And then, of course, we want to also understand the scalability potential. So if your market is in Nepal, for example, help us understand how that can work in Nepal or in surrounding countries, and can grow so that the impact is achieved more profoundly in the world.
Nice. I think it reminds me of a thing someone told me, that tech is the answer, but what was the problem? So, it's really, start with the problem and solve that and just hone in on that.
Absolutely.
So I think with that, we'll dive into the prizes, and especially the special prizes first. Okay. So you've already mentioned them. So we've got 3 wonderful special prizes. How do teams, how can they tailor their solution to these prizes and make sure that that comes out in their application?
Yeah, and I want to reiterate, everybody who submits a pitch into the TFF Challenge platform is eligible for the TFF Challenge prizes, which are outlined in the participant pack. We have the grand prize and the runner-up prize, as well as, of course, all of the perks of the sponsored travel to our program in Southeast Asia. But in addition, you have the opportunity this year to opt into the special prizes, the ones I mentioned from the Google Food Lab Accelerator, the Beta Space Challenge, and the Renature Foundation Agroforestry Challenge. When you opt into those, you simply have to look on the pitch submission page for the criteria that are related to the challenge, and you can only choose one to opt into. And then make sure that you are addressing those criteria in your pitch, and for example, adding a special slide into your final pitch deck that is relevant to the challenge that you're opting into. So there are specific requirements, and it's the addition of one slide into your final pitch deck that show how you've met the criteria for those specific challenges and will be taken into consideration by the judges for those specific challenges. And those judges will select the winning teams for those particular areas. So I hope that's clear. We've tried to outline as much as possible on the pitch submission page. A few things I do want to call out. There are, word limits and length limits to the content that you provide on the pitch submission page. So we really, really encourage you to do a draft of everything that you plan to submit separately. So you can edit and everything, in a Word doc or a Google doc, and then cut and paste it into the pitch submission page. And on that pitch submission page, it's final. You can't go back in and edit once you've submitted. That's a really, really important thing to consider, and why we want you to have a separate draft that you can work from and then cut and paste your final version into that, because we can't edit once you've submitted.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, so that works. So you've already said, we outline the word counts or the sentence counts. So please state keep up to these limits. But then also there are the short answer questions, and there's a pitch deck, and then there's a video.
Yes.
How do you use these to your advantage, and do you not repeat the same thing in each? And are the short answer questions, are they just repeated in the pitch deck?
To a certain extent, yes. But of course, a pitch deck is a designed, PowerPoint or Google Slides type document that, sometimes doesn't allow you to write in sentence form, depending on how you create your deck, with usually people use bullets. So there are some duplication of questions, but we're really trying to deeply understand your project, your uniqueness, what you're doing, the problem that you're solving, and how you're doing it. So questions are asked in different ways so that we can really cut to the essence of what you're doing and understand that as deeply as possible. And we really encourage you to be as clear and succinct as possible. We are all going to be going through thousands of pitch submissions. And so it's really important that yours jumps out to us by cutting to the chase. Like I said, please do not start with the world population is expected to reach 10 billion by 2050. And, in the wake of climate change and natural resource depletion, et cetera. We know this. So don't start with that. Start with, this is the problem I'm solving, and here's how I'm doing it, and here's why I'm special. And paint the picture for us. In the pitch deck, of course, that should really make the information and content pop, because we'll be flipping through the slides and, again, trying to get to the essence. We'll be reading the short answer questions. And the video is where you bring to life everything. That's where we can really see, your team, your prototype in action, your energy, and you can win us over. So that's why we have these different types of formats for you to share what you're doing in different ways to convey everything that we need to know to make decisions around your project.
Thank you. Just to say, I'm loving all the questions that are coming in, and I'm taking note of them, and we will answer them all. So please, if you have more questions, submit them via the chat or the Q&A. I'm seeing them. We're putting them in the talk, in the chat. They will all be answered. So then you've submitted your pitch. It's all beautiful. Is it confidential or not?
Yes. So the pitch that you submit onto the project platform is not confidential. There is, however, a section where you can submit any confidential information that you need to, that will not be shared with anyone besides the TFF team and the people making decisions. So if you want to share proprietary technical information, etc., there is a space to do that. But consider the page that you submit your short answers and your video and your pitch deck as non-confidential. In fact, what we've seen, and kind of circling back to your question, Marie, about websites, is that for many teams, this page becomes like a de facto website for them for a period of time, because it is a one-stop place that they can share with investors and partners, summarizing their project, right, with all of the core materials in one place. So we do make this, publicly available, and in the spirit of openness and collaboration too. But like I said, there is a space for you to submit confidential materials, again, to bolster your submission and help us understand, especially if it's a new technology or something that's IP protected or in the process of getting IP protected. We are happy to look at those materials in a confidential way and respect all kinds of NDAs.
Perfect, thank you. So you mentioned the video a lot, and I think you're especially excited about that. So what do you want to see in the video?
Well, first, let me just say what I don't want to see. Again, reiterating, not this, high level stuff that we all know. Please do not put that in your video. We are all very time constrained when looking at submissions. So we're looking for people to cut to the chase. We also want to make sure that in the video that your audio is working. In years past, I can't tell you how many times we've seen pitch videos where we cannot hear someone at all. And so do what you can, even if it's, holding up papers with words, or, finding a tech that can quickly subtitle your video, etc. Whatever you can do to make sure that we understand what's being said on the video is important. What we want to see is really an explanation, bring to life what's in the pitch deck. Nothing boring. This is like a commercial. It's your chance to shine and really win us over with your project. So show us your energy, show us your passion, show us your customers, show us your prototype, testimonials, anything that you can do that really wows us and makes us feel like this team has what it takes and has that essence of TFF and the values that we stand for here.
Perfect. And so that brings me to a question that was posted in the chat. Does it have to be a single take, kind of like a pitch that you have on stage, or are you allowed to record it in different bits and edit things together?
Yes, you can 100% record in different bits and edit together. You can, we're looking for content, not video editing skills, because I can't edit a video. I just shoot and, point and shoot with my iPhone. But, hey, if you do have that capability in your team, or you have friends who have that capability, by all means, utilize that, because again, this is only going to help your project, right? It's not just for TFF. If you're really doing this, having a great video is super helpful. And one of the reasons too that we think a lot about the next generation and university age people in our ecosystem is the fact that when you're at university, or when you're at your co-working space or your incubator or wherever you are in the world, you can actually find resources in a cost-effective way that can do some of this stuff. We're not asking for expensively edited, high production quality videos, but go to some of your AV friends, etc., and have them help you out to make the video pop. It will only help you in the long run. But just to reiterate, at TFF, we're not looking for high production quality or any expensive videos. We're looking for great content, but get creative and have fun with this.
And does the entire team need to be in the video? Do they need to feature?
No, it doesn't. It's not a requirement, but ideally we would like to get to know your team and not just have, one person reading the slides from the pitch deck to us, because we can read the pitch deck. This is your chance, again, to give us a little bit more information and context about your team, your passion, the problem you're solving, the customers you're working with, the prototype that you've built, the products on the market, whatever the case may be. This is the chance to bring that to life for us in a way that a static deck and written questions don't. So I would say it's not a requirement, but I would encourage you to show us your team in some way, shape, and form.
Nice, perfect, thank you. So I think with that, we will move on from the video, because we now know what should be in it and what shouldn't be in it, importantly, as well. And let's move on a little bit on kind of the digital labs itself and the platform that is there. So if people haven't engaged much on the digital labs, does that impact their chances of winning?
It's not a requirement to utilize the digital labs, and it's definitely not a requirement to do the assignments on the digital labs. We've built the digital labs as the first of its kind, startup accelerator and collaboration platform for the next generation, as a tool and resource for you that's available to help you if you need it. And like I said, it's not a requirement to use, but it's there as a helpful tool, and you can, use it in whatever way helps you. So you can collaborate with, other innovators. You can seek feedback, via the digital labs from mentors. You can go on Slack and talk to people around the world and do kind of like peer-to-peer feedback sessions. That's what it's there for. And I think the other thing that the digital labs does is it really brings to life the spirit and values of TFF, which, like I said, we want to see reflected in the pitch submissions. Things like openness and collaboration and team spirit and innovation and impact. Those are the things we stand for, not just the typical, how do I make money as fast as possible, that you might hear from other like VCs and investors. We're here to really transform food and ag, and the digital labs is an embodiment of how we do that. So to understand how TFF ticks, I think it does, make sense to dive into the relevant content on the digital labs. But like I said, not a requirement. And certainly the assignments there are just there to kind of like keep you motivated, but not being graded by anyone and not being assessed by the evaluating committee.
Perfect. And I will also just point out, some of the tools that are on there. There's a course on how to put together a pitch deck. So that will tell you kind of almost slide by slide roughly what to put on there. Please be creative, take it, make it your own. But there are skills on there that will directly help you with your submission. So do tip into those, like, for sure.
And I think the other really important thing to build on that is that the digital labs, there's static content there, which is there exactly to like facilitate learning on the go, anytime, anywhere, from experts around the world. But it's also highly interactive. And the digital labs includes the Slack channels and the mentorship programs and all the peer-to-peer opportunities. So those are things definitely we really think are important and valuable for our collaborative innovator community. So go in, work with mentors, talk to this global community of change makers, and just dive in and engage as much as possible. That's also part of the digital labs experience, not just the static content, which of course is very robust and helpful and evokes much of what TFF stands for.
Perfect. Thank you for that little bit of extra at the end. Just a quick one. So there's a question about the desired length of the video. So the video has to be maximum 3 minutes. So that's a quick answer for you there. All the word counts and the sentence counts are in the questions when you submit the pitch. They're also in the pitch deck checklist, and all these links will be sent to you again, but you can already have them. You've received them in an email. They're there for you. And if you have any of these questions, always reach out to me and I can answer them as soon as I see them.
And by the way, just going back to your question about websites and stuff, so what we're going to be looking at is this, pitch submission page, but you can always, and then we have included the ability to link to external websites and social media channels. So that's also a great way, if you can't fit your content into the word count and length, that's a great way to show us more content.
Yeah, agreed. And I definitely check out all the links and enjoy looking at all the teams and what you've come up with and just finding out more about you and getting excited about what you do. So do share them. Yeah. Coming back again to our teams. So not everybody was here from the beginning of the challenge on the 16th of October.
Yeah.
Does that affect the chances of winning?
Not at all. In fact, like we accept pitch submissions up until the pitch submission deadline later this month. And so you can join at any time. But again, try to dive into some of the experiences and content on the digital labs so that you really understand the values and ethos of TFF and can, you know, bring that forward in the pitch that you do submit. We are a different organization, and what we're really focused on in the pitches is not just your revenues and your, you know, what do you call it, money making potential in the short term. We're looking at how are you really making impact on a real problem that's going to help create a better, sustainable and inclusive food system, and address, you know, the market needs in your particular country.
Perfect. So a bit more, you've mentioned already now some of the tools that we have like Slack. So how can teams use Slack to their advantage, for example?
Yeah, well, Slack is the tool that we have right now to foster global collaboration. And so it's a great chance to connect with mentors, with our core team, with our regional coordinator team, and with each other. So go on Slack, ask questions, ask people, hey, can I practice my pitch with you? Can you provide some feedback on my idea? You can ask people, I'm working in the vertical farming space, anyone else out there in this sector? And it's a great chance to share ideas, know-how, and learnings in this collaborative spirit. We understand that so many of those solutions that are needed to make a difference in our food systems need to be built from the ground up, right, in particular markets and localities around the world. So we do foster this like global, local approach to innovation. So we provide a global collaborative community and kind of a global curriculum, but we try to foster homegrown innovation in markets of relevance. So, you know, just because you're all competing in the TFF challenge, you're still collaborating, right, to make a difference in food systems. So dive into Slack as a way to, you know, share your learnings and know-how, gather feedback from all kinds of people. This is actually a big secret of entrepreneurship. Probably many of you know this, but just to reiterate, it's like, it's the lean startup methodology. Like, go out and talk about your project to as many people as possible and as early as possible. Don't hold it to yourself, because that's actually how you can improve your idea. And this is like an entrepreneur's secret. It's not about keeping close. It's about, you know, talking to people, getting feedback, and, you know, iterating based on that feedback as necessary. And that's what our Slack channels are there to help you do. And to connect with each other. And like I said, to the core team, to your regional coordinators, to your ambassadors, and to each other.
Perfect. Yes, do engage on Slack for sure. And if you need help with anything, let me know. If you're stuck, don't know how to use it, again, I am the person to come to. And you can find me, you just search for Marie, and then you will find me and you can chat with me. And so you mentioned as well, you mentioned mentoring. How does that work, and how might that improve your chances of winning?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think anytime you have the chance to connect with a mentor, the better. We've amassed, I think it's now around 100 mentors who are experts in all kinds of areas that are relevant to food and agriculture, from some of the leading companies of the world, as well as, you know, universities and startup founders, etc. And, you know, they're allocating their time and experience to you based on the questions that you have and the needs that you have. So Marie is facilitating the kind of mentor introduction. So this is the time, right, to really seek that advice and counsel, and, you know, see what you can get from mentors. And the other thing is, I mean, we have our mentors, but also go into your communities, into your universities, and to, you know, maybe you're working in a company or you're in a co-working space, and talk to people there too, who, you know, can provide some advice, even friends and family. Hey, can I practice my pitch with you? What do you think about this? And see what they have to say. This is the time in this final stretch of the TFF challenge to get as much input and feedback as possible from, you know, trusted sources. So this is what we encourage you to do right now. And our mentors are there to help.
Yes, they definitely are.
Yeah.
And they're so eager to help teams. So if you haven't applied or like registered to get a mentor, please do so. You can find that on the digital labs. If you don't know where to find it, again, let me know, and I will send you the link to it so that you can apply for a mentor. So Christine, we're halfway through. So I'm going to ask you the big question now. How do I win?
How do you win? Well, I think from my standpoint and from the years of experience that TFF has, in running these challenges, there's not a one size fits all solution to this. How do you win is by demonstrating impact and passion for the problem that you're solving, and you show something special, right? We're looking for that wow factor. So even if you're not coming into this challenge with a breakthrough technology, a deep tech, IP protected solution, there's got to be something that sets you apart in the market. It can be your brand and reputation. It can be your team. It can be your, market penetration. It can, the customers just love you, and whatever the case may be, let us know what that is. And, elevate that as your USP, your unique selling point. Why are you different and special? Why should you be the winner? And I think, like I said and have reiterated, TFF, we're looking for people who represent our values of, trying to make true impact in this space through the attitudes of openness and collaboration and, deeply understanding the needs of the market. We're not looking for technology that's looking for a solution. We're looking for problems that technology and innovation can solve, and why your team is the right one to do this. So much about TFF is about the attitude, about the passion, and about really, bringing your authentic, true self into how you're presenting, your pitch. So how to win, show us that you are a TFFer.
Yes, exactly. You've taken up the spirit.
Yes.
And what do previous teams have in common? Is there something that makes them all kind of stand out together, even though they're from loads of different areas of the food system?
Yeah, I think what makes them stand out is that they're hustling, proactive, change makers. And we have seen winners through the years across the gamut of the food value chain, right? From production to consumption through to waste. We've had, nonprofits selected as finalist teams, but what sets everyone apart is that like hustle and grit that they show, this fire in the belly that they are waking up thinking about the problems that the world faces and, doing everything that they can to dive into solving it. And like I said, that's part of the TFF spirit that we want to see come through in these pitches and in the materials you're submitting, is like, you're demonstrating an open and collaborative spirit, that you're demonstrating passion for the problem that you're solving, that you're willing to do everything it takes. Because let me tell you, entrepreneurship is so hard, but what we want to see is people who are like, living and breathing this, and who want to lean into all of the opportunities that the TFF community offers. We are working with, the biggest companies in the industry. We are working with, leading universities, with a global community that's now 20,000 strong in 160 countries. This is not about winning a competition. It's about like tapping into the profound opportunity that this platform provides to change the world. And so like a TFFer who is selected to take part in our programs sees that and is showing us that, they're going to make the most out of this community, our partners, and the opportunities that we present. And the cool thing is, through the TFF experience, it's like they're giving back, right? So we provide some nominal prize money, right? We provide access to investment and to all of these partners, but the TFFers, the true TFFers, they give back, right? They become mentors in years to come. They provide content on the digital labs. They become speakers at our events, etc. So it really is this like groundswell of next generation innovation that happens. And we just want to see, and that comes across in, the pitch decks and the videos, etc. That comes across to us that, who are the TFFers out there.
Nice. Yes, exactly. And it's the spirit really that is the most exciting thing. And also, 160 countries, if there is a global network, like that's it.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned, having those values, but how important is it to have a team, and why do teams need to have 3 to 5 people?
Well, I think it's important in this day and age that you have a team. I mean, like startup life is hard and there's a lot of moving parts to building this successful startup. You need, like, and what we've seen in years past is technologies coming from the science lab, right, out into the startup space. And so you need people who have business experience, leadership experience, technical experience, and also communications and marketing experience, etc. There's nothing that matches a founder's passion. I mean, you can tell the difference between startups that have like a for-hire CEO versus ones who are started by someone who like has built this from the ground up. And I think like having a team in place is really important at this phase of your entrepreneurial journey, to really, one, like ensure diversity of thought, and two, to really bring in, all of the skills and tools necessary, right, to really take forward a breakthrough project. And indeed, I focused a lot on the TFF values, but that is not to say that we're not looking for like transformational innovation, because we're looking for new ways of, thinking, new technologies, new business models, exciting things that really are pushing the envelope forward and making a difference. We stand for, and this is one of our values, next gen innovation. And we mean that literally and figuratively. Like literally, we are working with the next generation who we believe come, factory wired with the mindsets needed to create profound change in the world. But we're also looking for that next generation, not just incremental innovation, but the next generation of technologies and tools and business models in this sector. And so do wow us with, not only your team spirit, but like, think about how you can, integrate business models from disparate innovation areas, how you're, bringing together technologies in new ways, how you're, doing something new and different in this space. And, our team last year, I would encourage all of you to go back and look through our winning teams and the finalist pitches that they gave in years past. It's available on our Vimeo channel and website and press releases, etc. But our team last year, Coding Plus, developed a biotech solution, by Nigeria for Nigeria. And those are the kinds of things we love to see too, is really, like I said, homegrown innovation, technology that's relevant in the market where it's being launched.
Nice, beautiful answer. So now that I have all these tools, how is TFF going to judge? What are the judging criteria?
Well, the judging criteria are outlined in the participant pack, so I definitely encourage you to go back and look through that. But we're looking for innovation. We want to see, cutting edge technologies and business models that really create something that's fresh and exciting. We love things that are based on, of course, like AI and machine learning and biotechnology, and, fintech solutions, etc. Like anything deep tech is very exciting for us right now. But like I said, it doesn't have to be. If you're bringing forward, a marketplace solution, for example, obviously marketplaces are seen ubiquitously, but like show us how you're special and unique and different. And that can come down to your team, your brand and reputation, your market penetration, whatever the case may be. But there's ways that you can set yourself up ahead of the competition and let us know what that is, what makes you special. We're looking for, innovation, we're looking for implementation and scalability. So we want to see that you're really going to implement this project over the short, medium, and long term. And we don't want, just an idea that you've come up with that ends when the competition ends. And we want to see some scalability potential that puts sustainability first. And your scalability potential could be also in the vein of like, opening some of your know-how, for example. So maybe your particular business isn't going to scale to another country, but you're allowing it to scale by opening it up and allowing somebody in another market, right, to leverage your innovation. Just an idea. We're looking for uniqueness, and we want to see a wow factor. So like I said, we've been at this for 7 years. So we've started to see a lot of like Me Too innovations. We want to move past that. We also what's something that really does wow us in terms of its presentation. The world of startups and, entrepreneurship is very noisy and crowded. So really help us like understand what makes you unique and special, and show us that collaborative spirit as outlined in the participant pack. We really are looking for, openness and collaboration and how your innovation approach takes shape. Entrepreneurship is so rewarding, but it's also a very demanding journey, and show us how you're supporting each other, both in your team and also this TFF community at large. And we also, and I think one of our uniqueness in, in the TFF world is that we're focused on impact, right? And so we don't want to foster an innovation culture that's focused just on value capture and winner takes all models. We want to see how the benefits of your innovation and project are being shared broadly with society, so that we can create this profound change that the world needs. And last is multispectral thinking, a word we came up with ourselves in TFF, but it's really just about showing how you are embracing complexity and empathy and understanding, the system as a whole, and embracing the system as a whole, and how you're coming up with your solution. So that's a bit of a more open-ended criteria, but be creative in how you think about that. We want to look past there's just a one-size-fits-all solution to certain problem areas, to like really how you're engaging diverse stakeholders and thinking through, like I said, how disparate business models from, for example, a completely unrelated industry can be applied into food and agriculture. There's some great stuff in the section on multispectral thinking about this. Like, I have some experience from my previous job in big ag, where I was learning from the music industry, actually, and taking business models from the music industry and applying them to plant breeding. That deserves its own longer conversation, but those are the kinds of things we mean by multispectral thinking. It's like, how are you, being creative and embracing complexity and looking past the known, right, to see something new that really sets you apart.
Nice, well outlined, I would say. And then, who will be doing the judging?
So in the first round, the judging is done by a TFF core team of experts, as well as some, ancillary experts that we've brought together who help us, especially in different areas of science, et cetera, to really understand the feasibility of certain projects that we might not have deep expertise in. And so, the judging is done kind of in an internal way in the first phase. And then in round 2, we have a luminary panel of judges that select the grand prize and runner-up prize winners. And then for the special prize categories, the organizations that are sponsoring those prizes are selecting the winning teams for each prize.
Great. So there are these 2 rounds, and I just want to loop back a little bit. So we've mentioned the special prizes a fair bit, and we've gone into those. Can you just re-outline, please, what the TFF prizes are? So they can also be found in the participant toolkit, but it's so nice to have Christine tell us these things, so we'll just ask her that.
Yeah, so we have like I said, everyone who submits a pitch into the TFF Digital Labs platform is eligible to become a finalist in the TFF Challenge. If you're selected as a finalist, you win a sponsored trip to our program of events in Southeast Asia, which includes the TFF Academy and the TFF Summit, where you will pitch live on stage for the chance to win our grand prize of $10,000 and our runner-up prize of $7,500. We also have partners offering, the Kirshner Food Fellows are offering a prize of $5K, and the Norman Borlaug Foundation is offering a prize of $2.5K. And the details of those prizes are outlined in the participant pack. And those are in addition to the special prizes. And those are, of course, outlined in the participant pack also.
Great, thank you. And there's a question here from someone who asks if their project has already won another business competition, will that help or hinder the submission for a TFF?
It has no bearing on our, selection. You can definitely reference that as, you know, an accolade for your project in your pitch deck, etc. The one thing I would ask though is that you don't like reuse a video for another competition as your video for TFF. We've had that happen in years past, and we are really looking for people who like spend the time trying to get to know TFF and want to like submit their project according to TFF's values and criteria. So, you know, don't just like repurpose all of your materials in an obvious way for us. But by all means, do let us know if you've won other prizes. That's fantastic. And like, it's a great accolade to showcase, you know, the potential of your project.
Great. Thank you. And I hope that answered that question nicely for the person who asked it. So just, you know, as a little time warning, we've got quarter of an hour left. So if you have any burning questions, do let us know so that we're sure to get them in. There have been a lot of questions about the early pitch submission. So we'll just go over that a little bit again. Mm-hmm. So teams could submit a draft pitch on the 5th of January, so last Sunday. And the first 100 teams are going to get feedback on that. So Christine, when will the teams get feedback? And is it okay if teams have not submitted a pitch in that round?
Actually, I'm looking to you, Marie, to answer about when they will get feedback, because I can't remember right now. I think it's in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's the 17th of January. So it's, yeah, like 10 days time for now, a little bit more. Yeah. That's when you will get the feedback. And no, it doesn't matter if you did not submit then. It is one of these things we do for you where, you know, that help you out in the end, that people or teams could submit an early pitch, get feedback on it, and then submit their final pitch, which is reviewed and therefore even better at that point. But don't worry if you didn't submit a pitch. Exactly. So the first 100 teams will get feedback. If you are one of those teams, you will get an email later today that will tell you that you are going to get feedback. And so you'll get the feedback by the 17th of January. Yeah. Which point you still have some time to tweak it to do your perfect final pitch.
Exactly. And for those of you who didn't submit a draft pitch in time, you know, by January 5th, don't worry. Like we said, there's still the mentorship program, and there's still, you know, several weeks that you can go out and practice your pitch with all kinds of people in your network to get it ready for the final pitch submission.
Yes, exactly. So let's now move on to the sad time. Oh, what do you win with the Circular Economy of Food prize? The question just come in.
Yes, no problem. So this again is outlined in the participant pack, and we will definitely gladly reshare that on Slack and, you know, to people who've signed up for this call. The Circular Economy of Food Challenge, which is sponsored by the Food Lab Accelerator at Google, the winners will receive the chance to participate in the TFF Academy and TFF Summit events in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. They will run 3-month incubation by MISTA, which is a San Francisco-based innovation platform for the food industry with, you know, big partners like Danone and Mars and Givaudan. They will also win one-on-one mentorship with experts from Danone, Mars, and Givaudan, as well as a funded trip to participate in the Google Food Lab event, which is hosted by Google in California. So those are the prizes that come along with the Circular Economy of Food Challenge.
Perfect. So if you don't mind, Christine, I'll answer this one. There's how should we choose a mentor, and how many mentors can we have, or should we have? So to sign up for mentorship, there is a link on the it's basically like a course on the Digital Labs that will take you to a form that you fill out where you tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're looking for, what kind of skills you're looking to develop further, and then you'll receive an email from me matching you with your mentor. It's then up to you how much and how, you know, intensely you interact with your mentor and what they support you with. But basically, again, our mentors are experts from the field who are there to support you in kind of putting your pitch together. Or if you have a specific skill you want to enhance, they're there to support you with that. I've just in the chat put the link to register for a mentorship as well as the participant toolkit. So do click on those, because at the end of the call as well, those links will go away and the call will close. So click on them now so you have them safely. And again, you know, get in touch with me to find out more. Let me read out a question here. If we have a roadmap of things to further develop that are not yet prototyped, however, are on the to-do list and a core part of our innovative implementation, is there an issue?
Oh, absolutely not. So 2 answers to this question. In the pitch submission page, there's actually a call out section that is on issues and challenges that your team will face in your market. So we live in an era of hype, a startup hype, and we want to move past this. We understand that every one of you will be facing challenges in your markets, and we want you to be cognizant of that and even to call those out to us. So you know, this is your chance to let us know this isn't a perfect project. Here are the competitors that we're going to face. Here's the regulatory challenges we're going to face. Here's the, you know, partners who might, you know, we might face problems with, etc. So there's a specific call out in the pitch submission where you can put some challenges or things that you haven't yet accomplished. And so in your scalability plan and in your timeline, etc., definitely do indicate to us, you know, here's our plans for the future. We haven't gotten there yet, but here's how we see our project taking shape. And here's the plan of how we will attack that. Like here's the resources we need now, but in 10 years or 5 years, here's how we can get to where we want to get, and here's our plan to get there. And I just want to like emphasize again, we're not looking for you to, you know, hype us up and, you know, sell us smoke and mirrors. We're looking for real solutions to problems on the ground that you deeply understand and are passionate about and have an approach to solve. So, you know, don't use this like, we are going to save the world language that's so pervasive in the world of startups. Like, show us you know this problem and that you have an approach to solve it that's, you know, calculated and accurate, but also filled with passion and energy, right? It's finding that right balance. We don't want the hype machine. We want the authenticity. That's what TFF is exuding. And so we're not here for you to, you know, boil the ocean, as they say. We're here to like really see impact that can be implemented and that you're the right people to do it.
Yes, make us believe that you are the person. Yeah, no, that was perfect. Well, I mean, I don't know. I liked your answer. I hope, Ranga, you did too.
Yeah.
Great. So there are a couple of questions about what happens right at the end. So everybody submits their pitch. Do teams get feedback on the final submission?
That's a great question. Actually, no, we don't usually provide, just due to the quantity of entries that we get. But that said, your life in TFF doesn't finish, you know, when you submit your pitch. So for those of you that are, you know, interested in continuing to work with TFF, hey, we're here for you forever. And some of our biggest success stories have been teams that weren't selected as finalists and that, you know, weren't winners in the competition, but were people who just like leaned into this amazing opportunity that the TFF platform provides. So by all means, like submit your pitch, you know, hound us and stay part of the community to get that feedback. That's part of the hustle we're looking for. And the TFF platform and the TFF community is what you make of it. So yeah, we don't provide formal feedback, but we'd love to stay in touch with people who are interested in continuing their project after the pitch submission finishes. Yeah.
Perfect. And will the content on the digital lab still be available for teams?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I was reading one of the questions that came in as you were asking me that. So yes, the Digital Labs is there. It's available. What we do through the 12-week challenge period is, you know, we provide this kind of like mentorship program and ask me anything sessions and, you know, all of the kind of additional materials, but the content on the Digital Lab stays there for you to use. And then when we launch the next challenge, you know, we'll continue to add in this augmented content that brings everything to life.
Great, nice. And
Mm-hmm.
And will there be a next TFF challenge?
Of course. Not only will there be a next TFF challenge, but in our new model going forward, we will be doing even more TFF challenges at a regional level and around more topics of interest to our partners. So our vision is to become the innovation engine for food and agriculture. And so we want to be like catalyzing next gen innovation on a regular basis in every part of the world that develop these like grassroots, solutions on a more regular basis. So that is indeed the future. And we hope that TFF will continue to grow and expand and create the impact that we know is possible in this decade of action.
Yes, because it's a decade and not just any old year.
Not
2020.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, I mean, you did kind of round it off really nicely, but I don't want to leave this question hanging. So I'm going to read it out from May, who asks, our team sees a good solution to a problem using synthetic biology, but none of our team members has any expertise in it. Should we still pitch the idea?
Interesting question. So I think that it would be really interesting to pick this up with you bilaterally, because we do have a lot of great partners in the synthetic biology space who can help you turn this from just an idea into something that, takes the essence of a startup or, a tech innovation that can really be implemented. So let's connect separately about that. I love the space of synthetic biology. So anybody who is innovating in that space, it's a, personal fangirl here. So I'd love to help you out, and let's have a bilateral about that question in particular.
Perfect. And that. Okay.
I see one about removing someone from our team.
Yes. Trying to find a question. So I think this is a team of 3 who is asking, if they remove one person from their team, will that affect their chances of winning? Because they will then be a team of 2 people.
Interesting question. So according to our participant pack, you have to be 3 people to 5 people. So again, if you can email us about your specific issue, and we can look to find a solution for you, that would be great. We just want to understand a little bit about the specific challenge that you're facing.
Perfect, thank you. And I think that were all the questions that you guys have sent in. So Christine, do you want to leave us with some final wise words on how to win?
Yeah, I think the important thing to come into TFF with is not the attitude of how do I win? Because like I said, it may sound cheesy, but you've already won by innovating in this space and being part of this community and being part of this journey and having access to the partners that we, have. You've won. You're a change maker, and that's a huge personal, coup, and something that the world needs, and with all of the challenges we face today. So congratulations. Now, we hope that we provided some, practical tips and tricks that bring to life some of the materials in the participant pack about how you can successfully submit a pitch that gets noticed by our, TFF evaluation team. But remember, this community and platform is what you make of it. So just give us your all over these next weeks. Wow us with your, innovation and your passion, and we're here for you. But remember that it's really about winning is about making an impact, and you're already doing that. So keep on doing that and stay in touch with us as we enter the final weeks of the TFF challenge. We can't wait to meet you in person and to continue to work with you as you take forward your startup. So just come to us with whatever you need.
Beautifully said. Nice. So that rounded it off really nicely. So as usual, this session will be available on the Digital Labs soon, so you'll be able to listen to Christine over and over again, and especially these last few words of action and wisdom, and I think, positivity. You're doing great things already. The teams, the ideas that are here are just insanely great. So keep doing what you're doing, and we can't wait to see your pitches. And if you need support about anything, reach out. Honestly, reach out to us. We're here for you.
And we learn something from you guys every single day.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we love too about the innovations that you provide is we're learning about the food system too. So, continue to just wow us and dazzle us. You're doing a great job. Marie's here for you. I'm here for you, Chelsea, Yana, all of us. So good luck and speak to you soon.
Exactly. Good luck. Bye.
Bye.